Good morning, good morning. This is Trooper Steve on patrol, and obviously the theme this week is all Halloween, and I am not joined by a law enforcement officer. I'm not joined by some traffic safety person. I'm joined by people who actually get to see what happens when the worst happens out on Halloween. Thank you so much, Dr. Teague, for joining me. You're kind of famous right now at News 6 because we've been talking to you a lot.
Yes. Halloween is a great time to talk to me.
Yeah, right? Well, unfortunately, good and bad, because we get a little bit of the safety tips and the do's, the don'ts, and then almost the deterrent, maybe, of what you see to maybe prevent some of the stuff from out here. So tell us a little about yourself, who you work for, what you do, things like that.
Awesome. So I am a pediatrician in the emergency room at HCA Florida Osceola Hospital.
Okay.
What that means is that I see kids that come into the emergency department and see them for any of their complaints, from scrapes, bumps, bruises, all the way to those life-threatening emergencies that can occur. I've been doing this, practicing medicine for almost 10 years.
Wow.
And love my job, love working here. It's a really fun place to work and get to take care of the kids in the community.
So just like the law enforcement world, we get to go into it and almost pick our trade and what type of law enforcement we want to do. Heck, everyone's always like, Steve, why a state trooper? And I was like, I had a passion about traffic. I think every crash is avoidable. No matter what happened, someone made a mistake, and it could be prevented. So that's why I got into traffic. Why a pediatrician?
Oh, that's a great question. So there were a lot of different things that drove me to go into medicine. But when I started trying to figure out that niche, that place that really was going to fit for me and figure that out, there was something about pediatrics and taking care of kids. I love the fact that I could be taking care of the next Michael Jordan or Hemingway or any person.
What a way to think about that. I never thought about it that way. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and that the actions that I can take to help them be better and to heal them can really have a huge impact on the world, depending on who they're meant to be. So I love that thought.
Are you from this area originally?
I grew up in North Carolina.
I can't tell.
Oh, and I can certainly tell every day.
I was like, it's Southern. I just wasn't sure where.
Yes, the accent never goes away from me, and sometimes gets thicker if I'm tired or stressed.
You are in Osceola County.
Well, that is true. These are my people. I feel a deep connection with them.
You've been a medical doctor here the entire time? Mm-hmm. That's interesting. Like, most people kind of bounce around a little bit, but why here in Florida?
There are multiple reasons why here in Florida. From a lifestyle choice, I love the opportunity here. I have 3 kids. They go to great schools. They're very active in sports. There's a lot of opportunity for them. I love where I live. It's a great place, a good community. There's a wonderful, active scene, and great food in the area.
Right.
But it's also a rarity to be in an institution for a long time in medicine.
Right.
But I really like the people that I take care of. I feel very valued and appreciated, which sometimes can be rare in the field.
Yeah, especially in the medical, law enforcement, first responder. Feels like you're always under the pressure. And sometimes management, is not always as supportive. But I tell you, the medical field around here in Central Florida, whether it's some of the competitive agencies that are out there, I hear the same thing. Medical here in Central Florida does it right.
I agree, and I think part of that is because there's competition there.
Interesting.
When there's competition, you want to strive to be the best, because you want to have that tout, that knowledge that...
You don't want someone thinking that the grass is greener on the other side.
Yeah, you want to be the grass.
Right, it's like my lawn's better than your lawn kind of thing.
Do you see the daisies and the hydrangeas?
Right. So, you mentioned you have children.
Yes.
And so listening to your interview with our anchor, Lisa Bell, it really made me feel good, because I talk about traffic like doctors talk about medical stuff. And when you brought up crashes, I was like, keep preaching, please. Because people don't understand the little things that they're doing on Halloween that they're just not acknowledging, like just driving normal in a neighborhood. You should not be driving normal in a neighborhood on Halloween night. Talk to me about some of the things that you've seen that you're now trying to promote to prevent these trick-or-treaters from coming in.
Well, let's start with those potential accidents. So one of the most dangerous, I feel like, on Halloween, that can have the most significant consequences is that pedestrian versus vehicle accident. And sometimes that can be a small, minor tap, but depending on how that accident can occur, it can have life-altering consequences,
Absolutely.
if not a fatality. You have to remember, most of these little kids, 2 and 3-year-olds, their average height is less than 3 feet. They're tiny, walking around, excited, not paying attention, and often the sounds and the sights are distracting for them. They're not doing a good job of listening to their guardians.
Well, they're just super focused. Next house.
Next house, next candy, what's going on? And so they're missing all of those other traffic cues that they're supposed to be picking up on, and the drivers are way more distracted. There's so much more to see and do, and
commuting to different neighborhoods to get more candy and things like that.
And so there's that potential for pedestrian versus car, pedestrian versus truck, and it can be devastating.
Well, here in Central Florida, it's not a stat to be proud of, but Orange, Osceola County, #1 for vehicle versus pedestrians when it comes to crashes. And I tell people, it's not just because you think you have the right to cross the street, you should not be trusting the driver. Don't assume and just walk out. Remove the phone from in front of your face so that you could see and possibly hear things that are going on out in front of you. What other tips? You mentioned candy, and I try to focus really on the safety aspect, but when you brought in the candy, I was like, we're going to talk about that. You know, so many people think, oh, I'm going to make stuff for Halloween. So many people are like, oh, I'm going to hand out, I got it every now and then, fruit. And it's like, talk to me a little bit about why you're saying you should only be getting certain types of candy.
Well, there is always the potential that someone may have tampered with the candy. You don't want to have that be your child that experiences that and happens to be on the Channel 6 news the next day for an ingestion that you could have prevented. By handing out and making sure that your children are only consuming manufactured packaged candy, you can help prevent those potential cross-contaminations, not only from someone putting something in it, but from allergy exposures as well. You don't know how something is prepared, where it's prepared, what's in it. And if it's a home good, although those can be quite tasty and beautiful, there's a lot of potential hazards with that.
So I'll put you on the spot.
Sure.
As a pediatrician, what's some of the worst that you've seen that you're like, you've got to be kidding me right now, that has come in on a Halloween night?
So probably, I would say one of the scariest that comes immediately to mind is a little kid, super excited about Halloween, and got one of those plastic jump frogs. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but
they're like sit down, you got to push it.
They're little tiny, and they have the little, like a little thing, and it jumps
forward.
And it jumps. It's a little plastic frog. Put it in his mouth and then choked on it.
Okay.
Because of what's on it, there's the painting on it. You can actually see it on X-ray. Not everything you can see on X-ray, and we could tell that it was very deep and very low. Well, that becomes a medical emergency, and it's scary because it was so low that if it turned and blocked the airway, there would be nothing I could do.
So this young child was still able to breathe.
Was still able to breathe at that moment, but there's a lot of things that increase the sphincter tone in doctors. That one for me, when you have an object that I can't remove myself, that could block your airway and is so low that if I tried to do, like one of the procedures that you see in the movies, it's really cool where you cut the hole in the throat.
Is that called tracheotomy? No?
Well, a crackoidotomy, but yeah, same
kind
me.
You're the doctor.
Same kind of
I'm the one that watches TV.
But you can't do that if it's too low. So that was a scary thing, and could have been easily prevented by taking out those choking hazards out of the kid's bag before giving it to him.
Looking for those toys that get handed out, because it's
or
always
small
like
candies.
It's always like cheap little trinkets that get to be thrown out. You play for a couple of days, and they end up in the trash with the wrappers and all that stuff. You mentioned something in law enforcement. We called it like holding the coin kind of moment, where it's like, whoa kind of moment, like, not the best idea. Really appreciate you taking this, because I don't think a lot of people think truly. They're like, all right, just be wary of people. And it's like, yeah, there are some creeps that are rolling around on Halloween. Heck, there are creeps all the time, and that guy's going way too fast. I always like showing this now that we have it. So normally when I do traffic segments, because this is what I normally focus on, I'm at hit an intersection or something. This is live, so I have to be careful, because sometimes I get a little frustrated, and I've come up with different terms of calling people things. So like if someone's acting crazy, I'll call them a clown. instead of slipping. And Thomas, just for a preview, we have a clown counter that pops up every now and then right there at the bottom left corner, and it lets us know, the viewers know, whenever we've spotted a clown. So if we would have been able to see that guy, he would have got the clown count for the day. I got to get my sarcasm out, so that's the legal way of me doing it here in the truck because of the regulations and all that fun stuff.
I'm actually dressing up as a clown. Does that help with your count? Like, do you get like a prize?
Tonight?
Yes.
Thank goodness it's not at work. Could you imagine you're going to go help somebody full out clown costume?
And I think it would increase my
probably
my patient's heart rate.
I didn't see that she was on camera. She is on camera. Vanessa in the back seat back there with this angle right here. She is on camera on this one. She is part of the marketing team over at HCA. So I wanted to say hi to her back there. Not like we have a rando passenger that we picked up here in Kissimmee, but that's perfectly fine. Outside of that, candy, traffic crashes, things like that. What is anything else you would like to add on that just to keep parents, and even if we've got a younger person watching right now, just to keep on the forefront mind that would come from a doctor's perspective?
So there are a couple of things about costumes.
Okay.
So there's a list of FDA approved cosmetic coloring. So sometimes some of the really fun makeup pieces that you can use for Halloween are quite beautiful, but some of them aren't necessarily as safe as they can be for the skin, and they can cause reactions and rashes and different things. So that's something that if you're going to do some really cool makeup, just make sure that that makeup is utilizing components that's safe.
Yeah, you don't want to eat it. You don't want to put it too close to your eyes, stuff like that. I remember dressing up as G.I. Joe as a kid, and that green makeup was on my face for days, and I could not get it off. And it's probably because it wasn't a healthy, approved style kind of situation for makeup. The costume thing, have you seen issues like that before, ever while out and about? Like over your years as a medical doctor, where a costume has contributed to an injury?
Yes, actually. So a lot of times costumes themselves are really fun and really exciting, but they can be have extra pieces or be long and flowy, and tripping hazards are a huge deal for not even just our little ones, even our teenagers.
Scream costumes for a long time had that.
With the long flowing sleeves. And so those can cause many a broken bone, head injuries, concussions, all from just the costume itself not being designed well to be walked around in.
And I'll add, before we drop you guys back off, is, look, throw a reflective thing around your ankle.
Absolutely.
I even suggested the other day on air, it's like bike lights are so small. Take it off your bike, throw it on your bag while you're walking around for the day, for the night, just to have some extra visibility. Because if you think that your costume is bright and you're dressed as some kind of goblin, it's probably not going to happen.
Right.
So, guys, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day. I know you guys are very busy. You've been super busy with us, with Lisa Bell. Our Angie Casada talked about you guys also this morning, which was really cool. And HCA taking the lead and really promoting Halloween safety from a medical perspective. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
If you guys want more information, please head over to clickorlando.com. You can visit HCA's website as well for more great tips on safety. But at the end of the day, the only thing we want, truly, even though she's dressing up as a clown tonight, and when she's out and about, I will be probably sleeping by 7 o'clock. We want you to be safe, have fun, have a good time, so we can see you tomorrow. So thank you again, Doctor, ma'am in the back hanging out with us. Have a great day, and we'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.